Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 996. I am Stephen with a cough in Edmonton.
Warren, cured of a cough?
Cured?
In Edmonton.
Chris in Edmonton.
He's not playing along with these reindeer games. Yeah.
He's all business. All business.
I know. Let's see how we do here, folks. I've had a pretty hectic weekend of coughing fits, brought to you by not COVID, thankfully. I was almost nostalgic. I was like, I remember these. I remember getting bad chest colds back in the day, 2019 and then earlier. And I tested 4 times. Come on, it's got to be COVID. No, it's not COVID. So here we are.
That's the nice, in quotes, thing about the pandemic. You didn't get sick from anything else because you were isolated.
Yeah, I know. And, so it's a bit of a throwback, this is. So anyway, we're recording this even a day later. We're supposed to record this on Saturday, which is our new usual time. But it says, give me at least 24 hours to try and heal up my voice as best as I can. This is the best you got, folks, just so you know. But we do have a commentary. We're going back to our commentary, part 2 of the Moonbase, which we postponed because of our Naheed Nenshi interview last week. And it was because of that Naheed Nenshi interview last week, the Alberta NDP leader and former Calgary mayor, that opened us up to being discovered or sought out by local 880 Ched, which is a pretty big, it's the biggest news station in the province, basically. We say local radio. It's not like local radio. It's BBC. I don't know what you would call it in the UK. But what did we get?
Regional radio.
Yeah, we got an email on Monday morning, basically saying, "Oh wow, hey, Naheed Nenshi, you should come on radio and talk about that." So anyway, I decided to do it in person at 7 a.m. local time.
Mm-hmm. This might be where the cold came from.
It is the last recorded example of me with an actual voice. Because later on that past week, last week, we recorded a commentary in person, which we'll hear about later. Patreons will hear it this week because we'll put it out. But anyway, I went on the radio. I went on the radio for a 10-minute segment to talk about not only Doctor Who but Radio Free Skaro. And you all have, and especially you too, you've probably had this thing where you have to go talk about Doctor Who or your Doctor Who podcast to normal people.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
And so that was a challenge, and you had to do it in 10 minutes. So it was a unique experience. I dare say I think I pulled it off. I think I got away with it. But the results are linked in the show notes, but also we're going to put an excerpt, basically the whole thing in this podcast later on, so you can hear it right before the commentary. So yeah, that was fun though. It was fun to go to a radio station. They're very quiet places. I went there and there's one car in the parking lot.
Well, it is got off o'clock, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they must all park somewhere else, behind in the staff entrance or something like that. But I was there. I wasn't sure if I got the right building or not, but it was fun. So there we are. So welcome any new listeners from Edmonton who didn't know we existed for the past 18 and a half years. Here we are. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. AM radio got me a cold, possibly. So, but apart from that, it was an enjoyable experience. So there we are. There we are. Anyway, hey, Gallifrey One. Gallifrey One is less than a month away. But some new guests have been announced. Michelle Greenidge. I wanted to say Greenridge because that's just how it would look like to me. She played Ruby Sunday's mom, Carla. Blair Mowat, who's done music for Class and other Doctor Who stuff. John Doherty and Nigel Ferris have all been added to the guest list for Gallifrey One. And then on Saturday, kind of good that we did delay a day, there was an update to whatchamacallit, to the thing.
Schedule?
The schedule?
What
is
schedule-related matters, basically.
Yeah, what would you call that, Chris? An update of
shuffling. A shuffling.
Shuffling?
Reorganization?
Yeah.
Sure.
Jump.
Let's go with that.
Feel free to jump in. My voice is about to die. Like
Okay, sorry about
I
that.
would love for you to speak at some point.
Well, I can combine two things: the Gallifrey One thing and the trying to explain to Norms what Gallifrey or what Doctor Who is. Because I a couple years ago went through customs at YVR Airport and had to explain to a guy who did not believe me that Doctor Who was a thing. I was like, "Look it up, man! It's been around for 60 years." Just refused to believe Doctor Who existed. Absolutely refused. Thought I was crazy. Let me through anyway. So, I guess it worked.
Well, you're a Canadian citizen. They can't say no.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is going into the States, so they could have said no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Coming back, they don't care.
When you
I
said
don't have to explain
YVR, I
Doctor
assumed it
Who.
was the other direction.
Oh, no, it's talking to a guy, American, going to the States at YVR. If I came in, they'd be like, well, just come in, shut up. Stop talking to us about Doctor Who. Please, could you?
Mm-hmm. One of you sum up the brief programming update from Gallifrey One on Saturday, please.
Let's see.
I beg of
I
you.
have to find it first. So, Chris, you probably have it in front of you.
Idiot's Lanterns on Friday.
There we are.
Friday Night Dance.
Mm-hmm. Fan video happy hour?
Because it's Valentine's Day, after all, as the February
It is
Friday.
Valentine's Day
And
on the
indeed,
14th,
Erica,
so
and my wedding
somebody's
anniversary.
wedding anniversary.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then apparently on Saturday, they're going to be showing Indoctrinated, which is a Doctor Who themed documentary.
It premiered that at
sure
Chicago TARDIS.
Ross Rudiger is the only person I know involved in it. I'm sure I know others.
Dominic Lynn did the music for it, for what it's worth. But yeah.
What's that?
Neat.
Dominic Lynn did the music for it.
Oh, yes, that's right. He did too. Because I know they did a screening in Chicago when Dom was there.
They did.
And then, so that's happening at 6 o'clock. And then the Masquerade is happening at 8 o'clock. And then once that wraps up, which is always an indeterminate amount of time, War Games in Color is showing after that.
Damn right.
Also, allow me a plug on Friday for Fan Video Happy Hour, where one of my videos will be playing. And if you enjoy, I'm not going to say who or what it's about, but I am going to say if you enjoy the music of a certain queer icon, which doesn't really narrow the field, and space, then you'll probably like this one.
Judy Garland. Oh, I'm there for
Judy
that.
Garland and Forbidden Planet.
My God.
The one and only Forbidden Planet fan vid. Yeah.
Love it.
You are the world's biggest Cher fan, I know. So.
Yeah.
Oh, big, huge. Yeah.
And Game of Wrestling on Saturday as well.
Oh,
so
cool.
Riley and Dan et al.
So there you are. I thought Game of Wrestling as a podcast sort of like they closed the book basically on their thing.
They did, but the live ones are still a thing they do.
Oh, good work. Good stuff. Yeah. Like Christmas specials, basically, you know?
Yeah, essentially.
That
and
sort
it's
of
a
thing.
Doctor Who convention, so of course they want to have it Doctor Who themed, right?
Yeah, exactly. Also, the main program will probably go live sometime next weekend, give or take a few days. So, you know, included in that is details and of our 1000th episode, that being our live show for Gallifrey One. So, yeah, so hopefully that will be announced or available to be announced on the next podcast. But yeah, things are happening behind the scenes for the whole convention, but also for our show. It's going to be good. Both the convention and our show are going to be pretty good. The
convention seems more stuffed full of stuff than usual, which is saying something.
Way stuffed. Way. I mean, Paul Cornell isn't going to be there this year, and so like there's all like the game shows that were usually like, you know, the what's the Death Squad Face Off show that he did. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
you know,
I know which one. I can't remember the name of it either. But
yeah. That and the Cornell Collective late at night on the Friday or something, which is always a hoot and stuff. Like both of those are going to be gone. I was like, I'm gonna miss. Like it's been. I know there was a time when like Paul Cornell wouldn't go. He was gone for like a few years and stuff, but then he's come back and become a fixture. So like him not being there, and Liz Miles from Verity's not going to be there. It's like,
that's too bad.
That's
She's probably working.
I know. Well, maybe I don't know, but you know, just like that's all right. There's lots of other people there that I know. So they'll be there anyway. More updates next week, and I imagine in the weeks to come.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and speaking of Paul and Liz, yes.
No, go. Oh yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead. What do you? Yeah. Yes.
Their new podcast, the House of Horror podcast. I might be getting the title. Anyway, it was focused on Hammer horror stuff. I think they've pretty much gone through all the Hammer horror they could.
They did.
So now they have debut of Telefantasy Time Jump with Paul and Liz, and it's them looking at UK TV and sci-fi and fantasy.
Year by year, isn't it?
Yeah, so they basically take an example episode or two of a year in UK science fiction TV and talk about it. They started with 1953, which is quite a mass experiment, sort of, the beginning of the modern era, so to speak. And then the Patriot episode will be about another show from around the world. I edit the show, so I have a little, I get to hear about this as well before you do, obviously, because it comes out. But the Patreon one, they're talking about, is it called Space Command? Only one episode exists. It's from the CBC from 1953. It stars James Doohan. It's on YouTube. I'm going to watch it before that episode comes out. Yeah.
I've heard of that, but I've never actually seen it.
I never heard of it. I didn't know that I know James Doohan was in Escape to Danger? Flight to Danger.
The one that Airplane rips off. And
exactly.
Makes funny.
Yeah. James Doohan.
Well, I guess
the
airport movies essentially do, or whatever they are. The ones that Airplane, I always thought Airplane was ripping off Airport because those disaster movies from the 70s, but it's actually Escape to Danger. It's aping.
At 0 Hour, the American remake a year later is the one they're basically ripping off. Yeah. So anyway, it's a fun new start for the podcast. So links in the show notes to their Patreon page. You can because they don't really update their actual webpage anymore, but you could join for free and listen to all the episodes there, I think, or apart from the Patreon exclusive episodes. But yeah, it's fun stuff. And the first episode just came out, and it's a hoot. It's a hoot talking about Quater mass experiments. So do check that out. Speaking of conventions, not only like literally days within us having the former mayor of Calgary, Naheed Nenshi, and indeed the Grand Marshal of the Calgary Expo Parade of Wonders on this show, did Calgary Expo announce that Jodie Whittaker and Mandip Gill would be attending this upcoming Calgary Expo, April 24th to 27th. How about that? Doctor Who people back in our province again. That hasn't happened for a few years, Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we had somebody at all. It's been a good while. And that's Calgary and Edmonton both.
Yeah. It was 1 year was David Tennant and Matt Smith the same. I think it was 2018.
It was alternating days, I want to say.
It was. They were not there on the same day. But in Edmonton, it was Matt Smith and David Tennant.
People can correct me, but I don't remember the last time we had Doctor Who people at Fan Expo Vancouver, which is pretty large, mostly because they have as many people as they want who are working in Vancouver.
Right.
That's
odd, isn't it?
You'd think that Vancouver would be maybe like an easier
way easier.
Get.
I mean, when Supernatural was on, it was pretty much all Supernatural guys.
Well, Jared Padalecki is one of the bunch for Vancouver Fan Expo. Ditto Mark Shepard. But there's, just looking at the list over there, it's Jenna Coleman, Catherine Tate.
That's right.
Those are the only Doctor Who ones.
But, Vancouver. When is Vancouver Fan Expo? Because it's
February 21st to 23rd.
Literally,
kind of why I ignore it, because it's right around Gallifrey. So I'm like, I got more important things. Go straight on.
Just after Galley.
I think they're in Portland the week before Galley and Vancouver the week after. So they're just doing a West Coast tour basically. So,
but there's lots of big names there: Hayden Christensen, Andy Serkis, William Shatner, Alan Tudyk, Mark Shepard.
Ashoka's own Hayden Christensen. Oh boy,
I know. William Shatner's like 93 and he's still doing conventions. It's ridiculous. Good for him, though.
And going to space. And holding somewhat offensive views that are not surprising for a 93-year-old. But anyway, we won't get into that.
Different times. Yeah. I don't even know what those are, but I can just assume what they are because 93.
Yeah, the usual.
Yeah.
And apparently it says Meet the Stars from High School Musical at Fan Expo Vancouver. So
no.
There's your reason to go, Warren.
Let that
nope.
slip by.
Nope. Also, I'm glad that Jodie Whittaker and Mandip Gill are going to be in Calgary Expo, and I've been to these things and they're fine. But they're not. We've said this a million times before. Gallifrey One is based on the community, and this is based on selling you stuff. That's what it's for. It's fine. If you go in there knowing it's a sales funnel with some cool people to look at, then there's nothing wrong with it. But it's not the same thing as the overall people vibe of Gallifrey One.
Yeah. I bet you Jodie Whittaker won't have a scarf made of ribbons at Calgary Expo like she did at Gallifrey One a couple years ago. You know? Yeah.
I mean, it gives people nerdy stuff to do. I'm not against that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Not everyone could go to Gallifrey One.
Not the same animal.
Yeah, no, not at all. But yeah, Gallifrey One is definitely our preferred type of convention because it's just the best. As we've been talking about for literally 15 years on this crazy podcast. So anyway, Calgary Expo 24th to 27th of April. We may or may not go down to check that out.
You two, not me.
That's true. You won't make a trip for it. We'll see what
there are some potential impediments there, Stephen, as you pointed out, like Stanley Cup playoffs and the fact Doctor Who will be airing
at the time and stuff.
Or so we assume it anyway, based on reasons.
I think
guesses more or less.
Educated
reasons.
Reasons too. Yeah. Say, Chris, tell us about this next item in the news list that you could get for free if you live in the UK.
Lavarzi.
I
don't even know how to pronounce it. Anyway, Italian named place, Lavarzi. They do a fair amount of Doctor Who merch, a lot of clothes and this and that. But apparently, for the time being, if you are in the UK, you can order a 2025 diary or journal, as we would call it over here. Get it for free. But yeah, UK only. So it's in the shape of a TARDIS. It looks cool enough. Windows are probably the wrong size, but
right.
That's how it goes.
Let's send one to Ian Levine so he can write our thoughts on that instead of giving them out to the universe.
That's true. But there's neat stuff in there. Like there's drawings and stuff. Like it's not just a bunch of blank pages. It's like there's actual artwork inside and everything. Like it's pretty cool. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's looks like weekly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now glancing through this does look pretty cool.
It does.
There's some good comic-looking stuff in here.
Yeah, you could use it to chronicle the wonderful year that we have ahead in 2025.
I don't know if I will.
Yeah, anyway, if you're in the UK, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Lavarzi is pretty generous to give that out for free. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
You pay $3.49
illustrations
for
enough.
shipping.
That's true. Shipping does, Yeah, but that's fine.
But it's still cheaper than buying it. Otherwise, I imagine.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, hey, why not? What's £3? What's £3 going to get you these days?
Right? Won't even be at £2.
Won't even get you I don't know, bag of Haribo. I don't know.
Oh, sure.
Title.
Yeah. A couple of Big Finish items. Big Finish Day returns June 21st at the Quad in Derby, or if you're in America, Derby. It's based around the Big Finish podcast live. So Nicholas Briggs and Benji Clifford will be there hosting the whole thing.
Oh, cool.
And they'll have a bunch of special guests, which are already confirmed, like Colin Baker, Peter Purvis, and Tim Trullo are all going to be there, but others I assume will also be announced. Didn't this coincide last year with like literally the broadcast of like the finale or something like that? Like it was around that same time, and people were like, says, "Oh, we got to go home and watch Doctor Who," but it's Big Finish Day. And it was like a crazy thing. So hopefully the assumed and expected earlier broadcast of Doctor Who this year, as opposed to last year when it started on May 10th. Hopefully that will be better for the people of Big Finish.
I dropped off from listening to, for whatever reason, to the Big Finish podcast. But even if you don't care about Big Finish, just products, which they don't really, like they play your previews and all the rest of it, but just the chemistry between the two of them is just so good that they're just fun to listen to.
Yeah.
I don't really care what they're talking about.
No, I know. Nick and Benji are great. I love them. I love both those cats. We had them on the show a while back. They played Doctor Who trivia, I think. We should get them against Warren so you don't have to play it.
Oh, thank God. Please. Come on, ringers, get in there.
Yeah, I know. So you can accept losing by just not playing.
I've long since accepted losing the Doctor Who trivia.
That's very true. That's very true. One last bit of sad news. Christopher Benjamin, Henry Gordon Jago himself has passed away at the age of 90. Of course, he was in 2 other Doctor Who episodes. One is Sir Keith Gold in Inferno, and I can't remember his name, but he was in Unicorn and the Wasp, in a whole bunch of stuff from TV from the 70s, 80s, and beyond. So yeah, and of course a lot of Big Finish with the Jago and Lightfoot stuff as well. So a lot of love.
It's definitely that guy. You know, like Dick Hill is in American movies. He was kind of that guy on British TV, or one of them anyway.
Yeah. But, you know, he always stood out. Like, there's a classic classic British telly YouTube channel that I follow. And, like, they've been putting out episodes of Dick Turpin recently, and he's apparently in that. And I know he's in that. And then one just dropped. And so I watched him. I've been in there. He's great. He's great. You know, cast so late in the game in Talons of Wing Chiang that it's not even him in the pre-filming. They had to shoot it in long shot with a hat covering his face because they hadn't cast him yet. Just drops him in literally days before they do studio recordings, and
I
he
can't
gives one of the
imagine
most
it without him.
and he gives one of the most iconic guest performances in Doctor Who history. He's great. He was great, Christopher Benjamin. So
true professional.
True professional indeed.
With the screaming Lupazumix. One of my favorite lines of all time.
Yeah. Oh, you've been drinking, Casey. Oh, it's time you started then. Yeah, just super. Christopher Benjamin. Anyway, well, that's it for the news. Hey, listen, Monday is January 20th. It's an awful day in the U.S. for a lot of us, but why don't you celebrate that instead by saying happy 91st birthday to Tom Baker, and watch a bunch of Tom Baker stuff as counter-programming to that. That's what I'm going to do probably. Or I'll sleep off this cough and cold that I'm currently fighting through.
I downloaded Robots of Death to my laptop for precisely this reason.
Oh, very nice. What a way to do it. All right. Well, I tell you what, we teased it before, but here is my appearance on 880 Ched Radio, and right after that is our commentary for the Moonbase Part 2.
Good morning, everyone. It is 7:07 this Tuesday morning. We're going to be talking Doctor Who, as you could probably imagine. But did you know this? One of the world's foremost Doctor Who podcasts, based right here in Edmonton, they're fast approaching their 1,000th episode. And episode 995 featured a huge Doctor Who fan. You may or may not have known that. It just so happens to be the leader of Alberta's opposition.
I went to a particularly nerdy junior high school where this was a thing. And it was a thing. People had scarves and fedoras and fake sonic screwdrivers. Now, the funny thing about this, and I've never actually gone back as an adult and figured this out, but I feel like KSPS, bless their hearts, in Spokane, Washington, only had a certain number of episodes.
Yep.
And every year or so, you would just start again. A week ago, as we are recording this, I met up with one of my adult friends and one of my junior high friends who brought the pizza while wearing a very long multicolored striped scarf that his sister had knit for him recently.
Oh, wow.
And we, 3 guys in our 50s, sat down and watched the Christmas special.
Lovely.
That, of course, Naheed Nenshi, leader of the NDP here in the province, and wearing the exact same scarf is our guest today, Stephen Shapansky. He is co-host of Radio Free Skaro. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Stacey.
So you just call Nenshi up and say, hey, you're a Doctor Who fan, come on the show?
You know what? I knew that he was a Doctor Who fan for years, ever since he was like Calgary mayor. And, you know, it was always a pie in the sky thing. Can we get Nenshi on the show to talk about Doctor Who? And then it was my local MLA, David Shepherd, who DM'd me. I knew he was a Doctor Who fan. I didn't know he was a Radio Free Skaro listener. He says, listen, I think Nenshi might want to be on your show. And so it did not take long. It was like within the first week after the Christmas break, it was arranged and we recorded it. So
you didn't talk politics, obviously. You're just talking all Doctor Who.
Straight up Doctor Who. Because, you know, he's got his whole life ahead of him to talk politics, and beforehand, when's he going to find time to talk strictly about Doctor Who? So
he's
we gave
obviously
him a safe space.
Passionate about it. Like I'm sure so many of your fans. Who else do we know is a closet Doctor Who or wide open Doctor Who fan?
Oh my God! Well, listen, I grew up thinking I was the only Doctor Who fan on Earth for about 20 years. And then I discovered so many other people like it. Because, I go to conventions and people from all around the world love it. I know that Peter Jackson, who directed The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and the Get Back thing, is a huge Doctor Who fan.
Makes sense.
Even though he's in New Zealand, but it made its way down there. So I think there's a lot of people who are bigger Doctor Who fans than you would probably know.
So tell us about your podcast and how did it start?
It started, me and my friend Warren were working midnight shifts at Teletoon when it was based here in Edmonton, and we discovered that we had a mutual love for Doctor Who. And a couple years passed, and he sort of said, we should start a podcast about Doctor Who. And I said, sure. Don't know what that is. So about a year after that, we finally started in 2006, because Doctor Who had come back on the air at that point. And about a year later, we added a third person, Chris, and that was it. We've basically just been talking about Doctor Who for the past 18 plus years.
How has this grown? You're approaching your 1,000th episode.
Yep. Well, you know what? We kind of existed in relative obscurity for about 2 or 3 years, and then we started going to Gallifrey One, which is the world's foremost Doctor Who convention in Los Angeles every year in 2009. And people saw us podcasting in the lobby and talking to people, and that kind of built up our reputation a bit. And we kept going every single year. We host a panel, like the live show panel, which kicks off the convention every year. It just so happens that even with all the planning and our weekly release schedule, our 1,000th episode will be our live stage episode next month at Gallifrey One in Los Angeles. So what are the odds that would happen?
Well, let's brag a little bit.
Okay. Canadian, this is very unusual for me, but go on.
I know. So tell me about how many people listen, where they listen from, and how many downloads you have. Because the numbers are pretty big.
They're pretty big. I mean, I think we're over 12 million downloads total.
Wow.
I know. We were going to make a big thing about 10 million, and I looked at the stats. Oh, you already passed 11. Well, never mind about that. I know. We get a few thousand listeners a week, more when the show's on the air, because we're kind of like the post-game show, so to speak, when people want to hear us talk about the latest Doctor Who episode. But I would say about half our audience is in the States, another quarter are in the UK, and maybe about 10 to 15% are actually in Canada. I have no idea how many people listen to us in Edmonton. That's the one thing I don't know. I feel like we're a bit of a donut in the hole that is Doctor Who.
Where do you want to take this? You're hitting 1,000. Where do you want to go from there? Are you making money out of this?
I mean, we do get some support off our Patreon.
Okay.
So it's nice. It's not our main impetus, of course. Where do I want to go? I don't know. It's so much fun. I mean, it's changed our lives. Both Chris and I have met our spouses because of this podcast.
No way.
Yes, we have. Chris's spouse was a guest. My spouse was a listener, and we hit it off on Twitter and met at a convention, and she moved here about 10 years ago. So, it's done everything.
Dr. Love.
Right?
Not Doctor Who, Dr. Love.
Yeah, do not tell me that when I was in my teens, thinking that I would never get a girlfriend because I was watching Doctor Who.
Who is your ultimate guest?
Ultimate guest? Well, that is Stephen Moffat, possibly, because he wrote and show ran Doctor Who for several years in the 2000s. Also did Sherlock. I don't know if you've seen Sherlock, but he did that show as well. So he'd be up there. Peter Capaldi, who played the 12th Doctor, is up there. Russell T Davies, who's the current. See, I could list them so many off. We've done almost 1,000 episodes, and I'm thinking, well, there's at least 3 more that I'd like to do. So we've got.
Who's your biggest guest so far?
We had Chris Chibnall, who was the showrunner of Doctor Who before the current run. He was. We had him on for an hour-long interview that got widely quoted in the press because it was his first big interview post leaving the show. We've had lots of people who've made the show past and present on the podcast, which is pretty cool.
Oh, it's very cool. All right. For people who aren't Doctor Who fans, and I have to admit I've never watched a Doctor Who episode, I know a little bit about it just through osmosis and seeing other people and hearing the fans talk about the show. Why do you love it so much, and why should somebody check out Doctor Who? And, of course, your podcast as well.
Well, it's a show that's about hope. It's, about romance and intellect overcoming brute force and cynicism, as Craig Ferguson once said. It's just it's a show that always sort of has punched above its weight. The budget has never been there, but its intention has been always good. And I think a lot of people see those values in their own life.
I love that. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And so when are you going to hit 1,000? What's the date?
It's going to be mid-February at some point.
February.
Yeah, February 16th, I think. Yep.
All right. We've been talking to Stephen Szczepanski. He is co-host of Radio Free Skaro, and you can catch it wherever you find your podcasts. They are just approaching 1,000 episodes, and 995 featured ahead Nenshi.
Are the microphones wired in?
All round the condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
Welcome back to the classic series commentary of Doctor Who here on Radio Free Skaro. This episode we'll be talking over the Moonbase. Episode 2, recorded on what to be determined February 11th, 1967. This one's recorded the 11th because it's episode 2, broadcast on the 18th, 1967. 7 days! 7 days later. Basically live is what we're going to watch. So I assume you've had your legally purchased DVDs and or Blu-rays just paused waiting for this exact moment to press play. That's good, because we're going to do so right now. It is the Moonbase, Episode 2, in 3, 2, 1, play. There it is. There's our... We're still stuck with this new one, with this old opening title sequence until they realize, you know what? Maybe this Doctor Who thing is going to kick off. We should maybe make a new opening title for
Will they be
Doctor.
into, what, the number of episodes would be into, what, the 60s or the 70s by this point? There's 44,
128 Hartnell ones, and
what has happened to this drawing? What's
going
on?
Yeah. So they're okay. So triple digits even.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe they thought, okay, it's going well. Maybe they weren't going to make a new title sequence until they were convinced that this Chowton fellow was going to work out, and and then I guess
he's
he
like,
did.
What did I eat last night?
Well,
What is going on?
Even still, like what came before this? Power, Highlanders, Underwater Menace. This is the fourth.
Power,
story?
Highlanders. Yes, for Chowton, yeah. EFGH, yes, if you're going by production codes, which I know everyone does. So, especially Warren.
Yeah.
I think Modern Who has missed a trick by not having the Moonbasian Cybermen.
I love these Cybermen. And we only get them twice when you think about it. Although, oddly enough, whenever they do when they do a photo call for other Cybermen, like I know the one where they announced John Pertwee, I think he's wearing that. There's a weird mashup of different Cybermen. Mm-hmm. It's like basically this costume, but they've altered the helmets to have a little teardrop in them and stuff. But that's what
I do love the 70s Cybermen, such as they are, just because that's the first ones I ever saw.
Yeah. Look fast here, right in behind Ben, right there, in between Ben and Polly, was right there is Victor Pemberton. Everyone, Doctor Who writer and script editor Victor Pemberton, in a rare on-screen appearance.
Interesting.
Who joins Mark Gatiss and Glyn Jones as being the only people to write Doctor Who and appear on screen officially, not talking about people that Tim Coombe roped in to do to reshoot footage for The Mind of Evil and the Silurians when he ran out of money. But so there's your trivia question.
I do like the amount of force and violence that the Cyberman uses to drag the dude out of
just
the bed.
Puts him under his arm and says, "We're going."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, let's just get this done.
Yeah. We didn't just see that, did we? Because otherwise we're really out of...
No, we did.
We're really out of sync.
A few minutes
Okay,
ago,
I was just thinking, wait a minute, that's not what I'm on
no,
screen right now.
No.
Thank God for that.
I do like these guys remember the previous episodes. I mean, these guys were there, but I mean, just the Earth people seem to be aware of this as opposed to just conveniently forgetting about it like they usually do.
Yeah.
The Cybermen were destroyed ages ago, so this is 2070. 10th Planet took place in 1986.
Yeah, it's like almost 100
so
years.
Which is the space year,
84 years between.
yes.
Yeah.
I always liked that in Attack of the Cybermen, they're like, oh, it is 86. We're going to do that, or next year or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that they tied it in. That was kind of cool.
Well, that was one of the problems a lot of people had with it was...
Well, that's not a problem I have with it. So.
Ian Levine's forced continuity of
this is the one time I'm going to go to bat for Ian Levine. You heard me say it.
that people barely remembered and maybe saw and never had a recording of.
I mean, Ian Levine goes, well, I remembered watching it, so all the rest of you should too. I mean, that that kind of informs his entire mentality in regards to fandom to this day.
But it's not just him. There's other fans like that too.
He just assumes that everyone remembers it. Wait a minute, we're not as old as you, and we didn't watch it. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a bazillion hours of Who, and I don't care.
Mm-hmm. To his credit, or to keep his memory fresher, I mean, he did have off-air audio recordings of most things.
Yeah.
So he could listen to whatever back, and then his brain could play out the visuals.
Mm-hmm. Well done. And then he made a Doctor Who episode about it, that everyone remembered everything. What do you mean he didn't remember the 10th Planet? What do you mean he didn't read the novelization?
I mean, they do explain that in Attack of the Cybermen. They do explain what's happening.
A little bit.
Are you saying you don't like Attack of the Cybermen anymore, Steven?
I like it, but I can see why people don't. I can see why. It's basically it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe equivalent of a Doctor Who episode in 1985, and that it's relying so much on a lot of stuff that you can't actually you couldn't see Tomb.
Is a
Tomb of the Cybermen's gone.
Crime committer in that regard than anything new.
Yeah. Anyway, there's Doctor Who. On our screen right there.
Yeah.
Comment. There's some coffee and stuff. Do you remember back when we did a miniscope on Doctor Who director Morris Barry, who directs this, and how...
Absolutely not.
I think what we came upon is that, Troughton is kind of like all over the place in his first, he's kind of silent in Power of the Daleks for the most part, plays his recorder a lot. He's doing costumes a lot in... Highlanders and Underwater Menace, and he settles down for this. And we reasoned at the time that maybe with Morris Barry, who is not quite the imaginative director that perhaps other directors were, and was a bit of a taskmaster, standing up there with his music stand and basically like being a conductor and keeping everyone in line. And I remember Fraser Hines sort of saying about this is kind of what he didn't like him very much because he kept doing that. But I think it probably actually informs Troughton's performance a bit. I think it reins it in. The hat is gone. He had worn a hat, that crazy tall hat, but it's gone now.
One, yep.
Yeah.
This is a cool set, by the way. I like how they have a separate room you can see into.
Yeah. Because they realized at the time, it's like, what, we could just build one big set where literally all the action happens, and then that's how we
But it looks cool.
Yeah.
It is fairly convincing given what we're working with here.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, with the backdrop in behind there, like the moon, the surface of the moon.
Obviously it's fake. We all know that, but
they're not on the moon? What? Come on.
But it looks more convincing than it has any right to, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
And a glorious black and white.
For whatever it's worth, the Morris Barry miniscope was on RFS episode 539, July 24th, 2016.
Wow.
Where we also apparently talked about a nascent young show called Star Trek Discovery for the first time.
Well.
Did we
That went great.
Did we really? That debuted in 2016? My God.
Well, I think I don't think it debuted. No, it was 2019?
17, I want to say it came out.
17, whenever it debuted.
Right.
I'd have to look it up, honestly. But,
I remember.
This is like when it was still
an idea or
a notion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe pre-production, maybe.
All hell will break loose on the earth. Sir, that happened a long time ago, in your time. 2024, in fact.
I do like, the camera goes from... I love the helmets. Those are great. Look at that.
That's the toque room. Go in and wear your toque.
I want to... That prevents your brain from getting radiation on it.
It does.
Yeah.
That's the 2070 variant of a tinfoil hat.
That's a radiation-preventing toque, not the radiation-causing toque.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. That one's a different color.
Mm-hmm. This all stemmed from research from paranoid people who had cell phones and thought they get cancer from them.
I can definitely see at some point in time in the future, perhaps, this sort of a scenario being a thing where control over the weather is a thing. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be done with some poorly manned, insufficiently small team of people.
Right.
And just, super duper important and not funded worth.
It will be several different companies controlling it, and they will be at odds with each other. So you'll get storms that are thrown at other regions. It will not be great. Weather wars in effect.
By 2070, I'm sure it'll be just one company. So, you'll have the weather brought to you by Amazon.
Yeah. Exactly. Wonderful. Just what we need. Amazon
weather. It'll be sponsored. And then basically it'll in order to drive up shipping rates or something. Oh, looks like there's a storm over here for the next week. Oh, no. How are you ever going to get your packages now if you don't pony up for it? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Oh, wow. The weather cleared up.
Oh, it's Storm Sunday.
What a convenience.
Special deals.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll make us pay for the air, even though it exists, just like in Total Recall.
Yeah. Miami, Florida.
Is that a report from Miami, Florida? Apparently Mar-a-Lago has exploded? What is that? Doesn't really matter. Not important.
Hurricane Lucy. Oh, in 2070, if there's a Hurricane Lucy.
In the Pacific, threatening Hawaii.
That's true. What? Oh, did that what they just said, Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right, Pacific. Oh, I like this as a man in the ministry even now.
Of course there is.
Get that set up in place.
Sacre bleu. They want to turn on the gravitron. Yeah.
Let's all crowd around. There's John Rolfe.
Canada. Make your presence felt. Come on.
Yeah. Now, I hope I'm not a liar, but I think there's John Rolfe right there. He was in the War Machines and also the Green Death. There you go.
I'm of the opinion they won't be able to control the weather because they can barely keep it together now. So
that's true.
I really doubt with increasingly bad weather, they'll find a way to figure it out to actually control it. That assumes that smart people exist, and I have seen no evidence of that in the last while.
This is how we'll combat climate change. We'll actually just put a station on the moon to control the climate.
That's exactly what we'd try to do, and it would go haywire.
It would fail. It would fail.
Without Cybermen. We don't need Cybermen to screw this up.
Yeah. We haven't seen Doctor Who, the actual character Doctor Who, for several minutes in this episode.
No, he's doing nothing.
It's
but
alarming.
We have this awesome computer. So
that is very cool. Computers and television were basically run off the exact same machine. The big giant 2-inch tape machine.
They really were.
Yeah.
All those little slider things look like equalizers.
They
down below the
could very well be
10-channel
equalizers.
graphic EQ on this.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
it could very well be that.
Yeah. Oh, he's got some scissors on him, or some tongs rather.
There's the Doctor Who.
Oh, he's getting samples. That's right. Did either of you own the Cyberman Years tape that came out like what 95?
Maybe.
No.
It sounds familiar.
I did. I bought it. Maybe it came out in 92, but I think I bought it in 95. Hosted by Colin Baker. Had these 2 episodes and the 2 from the Wheel in Space on it. I think it was.
Maybe I'm thinking the Hartnell Years. I think that's the one I had.
I had Hartnell Years. I had Troughton.
Would that be before they discovered Tomb?
Oh God! Now you've made me. Now I gotta go think. You gotta. Now you've called it out, Chris. You gotta go find out. Go find out. Go fact check. I don't remember. I think it was before Tomb. It might have come out in 91.
I'd be annoyed with the Doctor too doing all this.
The fact that this guy doesn't notice that someone is untying his shoe is also weird. That they're wearing the same shoes that the Cybermen wear. Literally the same shoes.
You're right. It is
silver painted Doc Martens shoes or whatever.
This guy's asking for all of us. What the blazes are you doing?
Yeah. Did you find out, Chris, or are you not even looking? You are looking. Please do.
I am looking. The first appearance, so it says clips. The first appearance of the Cybermen in the 10th Planet, Episode 1, plus their first words in Episode 2. Right. The Tomb of the Cybermen and the Invasion, plus 4 full episodes. the Moonbase 2 and 4, Wheel in Space 3 and 6.
So it did have clips
copyright
too.
1992.
1992.
Yeah. So this is, I guess, before. Well, I don't know if it was before it was discovered, but certainly before it was. Yeah.
Yeah, because it came out. In
He's just
June.
hanging.
June
Hey, everybody,
90
heard my name.
June of '92, I think it was. Tomb came out on video, rush release.
Okay, that lightning kind of rules.
That is cool. It's a spark generator. They basically literally line up a camera shot and just cut to it, and then they superimpose it over there. And it is cool. You can see it. What's JB.
So Emperor Palpatine's that much less impressive now,
right?
Maybe Palpatine's inside. Yeah. Maybe Palpatine got cybernized
because they cued this in live.
Maybe
That's
John
a live
Levine
effect.
is actually Palpatine.
Oh dear God!
Yeah. Well, Levine's in this. I don't know which one he is, but
no.
He's one of the Cybermen.
Fireman's carry the hell with that.
Yep.
Cyber carry.
Just reef them out. Brute strength over.
That is a Cyberman giving her and getting her done.
Fainted.
That is going to slide down.
I look at these sick bay bed things, and I just think they're not long enough if I ever had to use one of those. or you, for that matter, Stephen.
Yeah, you're going to avoid cybernization. I am doomed.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have the materials to make these tolls.
These tolls.
Mind you, they do have the Cybermen in the bed that later on.
I do like that there's a small little telescope there, and they just do some stargazing maybe. See what's going on.
He's spying on his place back on Earth.
Oh yeah, that's something like James Stewart would have in his rear window. It's just like something you buy.
Golly, a murder!
Gold days. There's some Cybermen coming down there.
Now, what in the gold darn hell is that?
Just like now, he's just become like
a hillbilly.
A hillbilly Jimmy Stewart.
Well, he was in some westerns.
He was. Was indeed. Still not. Oh!
Cybermen despise grade.
Despise the great Canadian wheat fields are safe. There you go. Pack it up. God, I feel like I'm not going to see the Canadian flag on any of these people.
I think you made it up.
It's probably that guy right there. I can't see him. It's not him. Not French.
That's Clark Kent back there with those big horn rim glasses.
That's true. He's in disguise, you see.
I never ever noticed how much the scarf covers the name on the dude's chest.
It's but
it really does. It is very effective.
It does. I know.
Australian, I think, based on his flag, which we can't see right now.
He's French.
Yeah.
Well, the guy in the middle
thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's right.
Australian or New Zealand. I can't tell, but probably Australian. The BBC didn't acknowledge New Zealand until 1989.
They're not going to be terribly nuanced about this, given these costumes.
Yeah.
You'd think the guy in charge would know 2 men went outside to realign solar mirrors. That'd be kind of a thing he'd know about. Well, that's been
there's no star under the Union Jack, so that should be New Zealand, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Are you an expert on flags, Warren?
No, I'm not. That's why I said I don't know.
He is not Sheldon Cooper.
Thank God for that.
I don't know who Sheldon Cooper is.
Big Bang Theory. Chris is lowering the discourse from its
Is that his
low
name?
point.
I didn't know his name was Sheldon Cooper. Oh.
Why do I know this? I hate that I know it.
I know. I knew his name was Sheldon. I didn't know his name was Sheldon Cooper, though.
Oh, does that change anything for you then?
Oh, a little bit.
Still garbage. Still absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Unless he's related to Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks, in which case.
Or maybe he was Dan Cooper who jumped out of a plane flying over Seattle with $20,000.
DB Cooper, you say?
Well, yeah. The press misreported him as DB Cooper.
It's a cooler sounding name.
Actually gave his name as Dan, yeah.
I like how the dude on the left, his helmet is a little more squished and pointy, and the other one on the right is a little more rounded. Like they're not even the same shape.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because it gives them some individuality, kind
of. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, goodness knows that breathing apparatus on their back is Bulletproof.
That's true. You probably can't hear it, but the music cue that's being played right now has been used in Doctor Who before. Hey, I'm
Cybermen by hitting their probic vent. Duh.
Aha!
The score by acclaimed composer Stock Music.
Stock Music, yeah.
I love that guy's work.
But that particular track that we just heard a bit of and appears elsewhere in this episode was, I think, first heard at the climax to episode 1 of The Edge of Destruction, called Edge of Destruction. But and I think we do hear Space Adventure coming up here. There it is. Did we have a trivia question about that degree in Glasgow in 1988?
Oh, probably.
The most recent trivia, Mr. Fibbley, I want to say we did.
I don't remember.
It sounds familiar, but I'm so full of rage.
I know.
There's a cloud of rage about that.
That's what would have been referenced in Tooth and Claw, though, right?
It would have been. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
References.
Pandering. Doctor Who is just the lower decks of Doctor Who.
What does that even mean?
Exactly, that's the point.
State-sanctioned parody is what that is.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be gone soon, so.
Lower decks, you mean?
Yeah. Lower decks, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one I can confirm is going away soon because they did not renew
They're
it.
on their last season, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 episodes left to come, I think, as we record
just
this.
Came out last week. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
something like that.
By the time this gets released, I'm sure it's done so.
Did you check on, I can't remember what you said for dates for VHS releases. I finally found Cybermen the early years came out in July 6th, 1992. But Tomb came out in May 11th. But they might have made this Cybermen the early years maybe before they even discovered Tomb, so.
That could be.
Yeah.
This blanket looks like a hotel curtain.
Maybe it is.
Could be. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh, and good old sexist Doctor Who. Make some coffee, woman.
Yep. I remember that exact clip was used. You'll probably remember this too, Chris, in Resistance is Useless.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't know the anorak was slang, so I was just like, why the hell is this coat here? I don't understand any of this.
I mean, if nothing else, the Doctor's sexism does lead to resolution of the plot.
That's true. But still.
Or at least the disease part of it.
Man,
it's so
damn.
Like they just stab him. They just
taking a beat down.
Stab them.
They're just violent bastards.
All those numbers in the back of the domes are awesome, by the way.
Yeah. Wow. Like I thought they had like a ray gun or something. Didn't they have like the little, but no. Let's just stab them.
I hate it when Doctor Who gets more American.
I know. The violent ears.
Beatings by robots.
Where's Mary Whitehouse now? Damn it. Coffee. The coffee lady's here. Literally the only woman in this entire story.
No, you don't get any.
No.
You just made it.
Get to work, Frenchie. Yeah.
Which could never be said for any other Troughton story.
Never.
Never. Not in this era.
Or Pertwee story.
What a one-off that was.
I know. Oh, a close-up of the sugar. What can it mean? What can it mean, everyone? Let's all have a coffee break.
Means we're cutting around some flub lines, probably.
Yeah. No, it means the sugar is the poison, you see.
Well, I know.
Oh, my God. Oh, no.
So why are the Cybermen doing Agatha Christie mysteries here? Like, what's the deal? Why don't they just kill people?
Right.
Like they did before.
I know.
We just saw that.
Like, they clearly can break in and take people and kill. Like, just go in and shoot them.
Yeah, there's no need for this elaborate silliness. Just go and smack people around. But our reputation.
You have to do it with style, damn it. Come on.
Mondasian Cybermen plans were too easy. We Moonbasian Cybermen are much more clever.
Moonbasian. I don't think either of you had the David Banks Cyberman book either, did you? From like 1988.
So, no.
Oh, loved that book so much. I still have it, of course. But oh, geez, that was awesome. That was cool. Swaps.
I missed that.
Oh, I just smacked a cup of coffee out of his hand.
Oh, okay.
There was cool. Actual coffee in it too. There was sprayed all over the place.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Has a sonic screwdriver shown up yet? Because this is the kind of thing he would analyze with sonic screwdriver.
No, Fury from the Deep.
Okay, all right.
We have a whole other companion to go through before we get to that.
That struck me as the kind of thing where he'd whip it out and be all bzz, 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 oh look, there's blah 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 chemical composition. Just as I suspected.
He could take the John Barrowman route and do that with his penis.
I was waiting for that, and you did disappoint, but didn't surprise.
Can you believe
disappointed but delivered?
Can you believe that they in the UK? I'm still stuck on VHS releases here, but July 6th was when the Cybermen, the early years, came out. Also, they released the Daleks, the early years, and Shada the same day. Why would you do that? Why not space those out? Why would you put 3 different VHS tapes out on the same day?
Even in the early 90s, marketing was not quite as finely honed as it is now.
No, really isn't.
Like, the fact that, to go completely off in left field, the fact that there was a huge media blitz for Batman was a novelty at the time. Mm-hmm. Like, the amount of merchandising that was pre-planned for Batman. That was nobody had really seen that to that extent before.
Yeah.
And now it's just a given, right? So...
Yep. First ever ad I saw in a movie theater, and it was such a hubbub, was the Pepsi ad that aired, the Batman-specific Pepsi ad that aired before Batman in the theater in 1989. And now
I can remember mine.
Literally sit through 10 minutes of ads. Actual 10. I've timed it.
It's ridiculous. 10 and then a bunch of other ads before the ads.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway.
The first ad I ever saw, I went to see Wall Street in 87, and it was a Fisher Electronics stereo ad, and people were loudly booing the ad in the theater.
And now we just sit and just wait for the literal
every time I see
minutes.
ads in the theater, I think of that in 1987, almost 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. People just angrily booing.
Oh, I do like the build-up of this cliffhanger. You know, you've checked the whole base, and anyone in checking here? No. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Even the cut to the boots is pretty good.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
He's got a shiv.
Just wobbles
I'll cut you.
Yeah.
Like if he can shoot people with that, why didn't he do that to those poor suckers on the moon's surface, you know?
Well, he's got to shiv everybody. Come on.
So apparently the very, very final VHS release was The Reign of Terror, episodes 1 and 3 of The Faceless Ones, and episode 1 of Web of Fear.
That being in the UK? Or
November 24th, 2003.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I assume the UK.
Yeah. Because the giant 11 tape set that we got in North America didn't come out in the UK. So,
did it not?
No,
okay,
I heard that on a panel
tape set.
A panel at Chicago TARDIS. But that's a story for another day, because we're done the commentary for part 2 of the Moonbase. So join us next time for more animated fun for the Moonbase part 3 on our classic series commentary. Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.